Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fat Loss Basics. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Okay, I don't know why I like talking like that, but I do. Trying to pull up my notes here. Okay, so we had our masterclasses last week, food noise dropout. If you're not in the Diet Dropout Club yet, you can get in there. All that is a membership. And I'm going to be super honest. If you see something that piques your interest, whether it's a challenge or it's a masterclass of some kind, you can literally join for the thing and then you can literally cancel. Literally. Okay. Now, I don't think you're going to want to cancel, but you can. Okay. So it's $37 a month. Okay. It's $1.23 a day. Some of you bitches out there getting cold foam, protein cold foam that costs $2 extra, and your fucking Starbucks is $8 every time you go. And you're going twice a week. Trust me. I know what y'all doing. I see you. I see you. Okay. So link is in the show notes if you want to get in. Diet Dropout Club. It's where it's at. All right, here we go. Something that I really want to be addressing as I'm going through my own mentorship, right? That doesn't make sense. I always talk about how I never want somebody to invest in me if I'm not willing to invest in myself. Like, I should be always leading. And I have had my ups and downs of mentorships and all the things, but let's chat about the fact that I had not done an application-based mentorship, meaning I may have had a business coach, but the last time I actually had like where I'm going to learn something and then apply or have the ability to ask questions about my own personal clients has been a hot second. Okay, so I need water. I feel like I'm very parched all of a sudden. And so one thing that this mentorship has really taught me is the importance of women training. And I'm going to be super honest. The majority of women that are in my Fat Loss Basics group coaching program don't train. Some of them have started. Some of them I train in person. Some of them are local to me and they go to my Ladies Love Club. So that's new for them. Now my nose itches, you guys. But I have a few of them that don't do anything, which is okay. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely something that we want to be working towards. And what we know and what I'm learning is, you know, our intake of nutrition is really based on strength training, is really based on our muscle mass, is really based, and some of this I already knew, like some of this is not like new news to me, but how we can manipulate our food is becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. Okay. And so I want to talk a little bit about why strength training should not be optional for women and why I really want to take the shouldn't and say isn't. Why is strength training not optional for women? Okay. We as women, I feel like don't have necessarily a weight issue. We have an under muscle problem. The majority of us are under muscled. Yes, that means we are overweight, but a lot of us, if we actually started strength training, we would have more muscle and less fat. I truly believe this, right? Strength training, though, is not just about your aesthetics. It's about your health, okay? And it should not be optional for somebody that wants healthy bones. If you want to maintain muscle mass as you age, if you want to protect metabolic health, if you want to move through perimenopause and menopause without literally wanting to fucking poke out your fucking eyeballs. If you're not helping yourself, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Okay. So there's either women that are not doing anything or they're doing a version of something that's sort of kind of training, but not typically a class, but it's not enough to create an adaptation to the muscle to get the response the body actually needs to get. So maybe they're doing, I'm gonna bag on this one. Here we go. Maybe they're doing jazzercise. And yes, jazzercise has a quote unquote strength class. Sure. where you add weights. But oftentimes, and I know multiple people that do jazzercise, it's 3-pound fucking weights. And I'm going to be really fucking super transparent. You need to be lifting more than 3 fucking pounds or 5 fucking pounds or 10 fucking pounds. I'm sorry, but you do. Okay. So they're either doing too low of weight. They're not lifting enough. They're doing body weight, which is fine for a period of time and can be a very great foundational piece. Or they're doing these random fucking workouts that don't make fucking sense, that have no fucking progression, aka Orange Theory. Okay. Now, Orange Theory started their strength training classes. I think that's great. Or their strength-based class. It's a 45-minute class. Great. But it's not progressive. It doesn't do the same thing for weeks upon weeks in a row, which is what you need to be doing. Okay. So when this is the case, women who are doing these things, who are choosing these things, are missing on the single most important thing that you can be doing for your long-term health, not just the way you feel. If you want to look, not just the way you look. If you want to look toned and look like a beefcake, and I don't mean like a beefcake in like a gross kind of way. Like I always call my in-person client ladies, I call them beefcakes because they are strong bitches. And I love it. I love it. Okay. So we need to talk about, why is strength training not negotiable for women? So most women have learned to do cardio. Cardio is what's going to get us the smallest version of ourselves. Running, walking, cycling, some group fucking fitness class, spin, Zumba. And I think that there's some value in these. One, you get a great community, which is super important to a lot of fucking people. Okay. It's good for cardiovascular health. Also very good. We need a healthy heart as we age. It's the same concept. It's good for just general basic movement. Love it. Great. Especially if you enjoy it. It could be also beneficial to get in steps and just overall daily movement for your day. But it's not enough, right? Cardio doesn't build muscle. Group classes don't build muscle. Spin does not build muscle. Zumba does not build muscle. Cycling does not build muscle. Running and walking do not build muscle. It doesn't build muscle. It doesn't strengthen bones. It does not protect your metabolism. It does not protect and strengthen your joints, your ligaments, and your tendons. So if you're only doing cardio, you're missing out. Okay? Or we're not doing anything that's going to challenge ourselves again to get the body to adapt. Right? Maybe we're just going through motions. Maybe we are showing up. These are all the time the people that I hear, I'm training 5 times a week, but I'm not seeing any results. Well, 2 things are going to be true here. 1, you're not doing what you need to be doing. You're not training with intensity. Or 2, your diet is not where it needs to be, like your nutrition. Okay. And I'm under the guise that all rep ranges have some value. You can build muscle with 5 reps. You can build muscle with 20 reps. But the key is effort and overload, and what you do with those over a period of time. Okay. So it's not that women are doing too little of weight. It's that we're doing too little of weight, and then it's not enough, and it's not challenging. And that doesn't mean that we sweat more. It's not like, okay, well, I used 3 pounds last week. Now I'm going to use 5 pounds this week, and then I'm going to do it again. No. It's not about, then I sweat more. No. Sweat has nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing. Right? So if you use that same 5 pounds for the next 2 months, that's not getting stronger. Yeah, maybe it may make you sweat, may get your heart rate up. Great. Okay. So let's talk about some non-negotiables of why. I kind of already touched on this first one, which is bone health. We are obviously at super high risk of sarcopenia and osteoporosis. And now that we are on GLP-1s, it is 100 times worse, you guys. It is so fucking bad. I am so concerned about what we are going to see in the next 20 to 30 years. Not because people are using weight loss drugs, but because they are not using them appropriately. I'm very concerned. I am so fucking concerned. Okay. After menopause and our estrogen fucking tanks, guess what goes? Bone density. Bye-bye. That's why we are so much more at risk than men. Because when our estrogen levels drop, our bone density also drops. And the only way to build and maintain bone density is through resistance training. Sorry, you go ahead and wear your little fucking weighted vest. That is not, again, enough of a stimulus. I'm sorry. It is not enough of a stimulus. So when you are lifting heavy weights, you actually don't just put stress on the muscle, but you are also putting stress on the bones, the ligaments, and the joints. And because of that, the bones have to respond and become more dense and more strong. And this is how you prevent or delay osteoporosis and then sarcopenia. This is how you protect yourself from getting fractures, which, by the way, there's some age, I want to say maybe 80 years old. Anybody, like, I don't exactly remember the specific age that it is, but if you break your hip over the age of 80, you like only have, like, the majority of women only live 1 year, within 1 year of that, of breaking a hip. Why is that? Because everything else fucking goes to shit. Also because you get put into a hospital, and then when you're in the hospital, you get sick. There's like some stat, and I don't exactly remember the age specifically. I want to say it's 80 years old. Like the majority of women, if they break a hip at 80 or older, that was weird. They only live with like in 1 year of that breakage of the hip. That is scary fucking shit. Okay. So another reason here, we talked again, muscle mass and your metabolism. Everybody's like, my metabolism is just so broken when I have menopause. No. From ages like 20 to 60, your metabolism is just fine. It barely declines at all. What declines is your movement. What declines is your strength training. What declines are your habits. What declines are your behaviors. Right? So as we lose muscle mass, sarcopenia, right, your metabolism is going to also slightly go with it, because muscle is a metabolically active tissue. This is why I feel like we are under-muscled. And because we are under-muscled, we are so overweight. We are not just overweight, but we are so overweight. Okay? The more muscle mass you have on the body, the more your body burns doing fucking nothing. That's a fact. And most women are not only just losing muscle as we age, but we're already under fucking muscle to begin with. This is pretty much every woman in my family. And I love you all if you listen to this, but that's the reality. Not me. It's not going to be me. I'm so fucking tired of this. Well, welcome to getting older. No, go fuck yourself. How about that? I literally got up my father-in-law's ass over the weekend when he's like, well, that's just what happens when you get older. No, what happens when you get older is your habits and your behaviors are fucking trash. That's what happens. Sorry. That's what I said. And he was like, there is no response. Exactly. Because I'm right and you know it. Okay. So most women are also losing muscle because now we got all these GLP-1s, or we are in such dire chronic restriction trying to lose weight, right? Whether it's excessive, restriction, calorie intake wise, excessive cardio, not eating enough protein, not, good enough in effort put in strength training. And when you lose muscle, everything starts to go to shit. And this is why it gets harder to lose weight as you age, because your energy balance goes to shit. Okay? Your energy balance goes to shit. Another element here is your hormonal health. So when people are like, my hormones are all imbalanced and fucked up, I need a supplement because my hormones, I need to balance them. No. Strength training improves insulin sensitivity. I'm so tired of this trigger buzz phrase. Insulin sensitivity. I have insulin sensitivity. Okay, well, fucking go move your body on purpose with gusto. Okay? It also helps regulate cortisol. It helps support estrogen and testosterone levels. And this matters for the majority of you who are over 40 years old, who are going through perimenopause and menopause. And when estrogen drops, you have a high risk of losing muscle, gaining fat, losing bone density, and you have metabolic dysfunction. Strength training helps either protect some of these things, slow the rate of some of these things, And most important, mitigates the risk of most of these things that we're talking about, right? It helps maintain muscle. It helps improve metabolic health, energy balance. It helps protect bone density. It helps regulate, but not fix or balance, but regulate your hormones. And it's one of the best things that you can do when your body is hormonally fucking shifting, okay? Obviously, strength training is going to bring a part of functional strength and longevity. Strength training is not just about, I look great in the mirror and feel great naked, but when you're 70, can you get the fuck off the floor? If you were to fall, can you get the fuck up? Can you get out of a chair without having help? Hello? Can you carry in groceries? Can you pick up your kids or your grandkids? Can you move the furniture? Can you go up and down fucking stairs? Can you maintain independence as you get older? Right? If you don't have strength, you lose mobility. And if you lose mobility, bye-bye independence. Okay? And the time to do that is before you turn fucking 70. Maybe even 60. Probably 50. The stronger you are now, the better that you're going to be as you age. So I'm going to first here, outside of all of that, address the elephant in the room and be like, I don't want to get bulky, Sarah. You're not. You're not going to get bulky. People try really hard who don't take steroids to get bulky, and it takes a fucking long ass time. And even then, I beg to differ. They're probably not very bulky. Okay. We do not, as women, have the hormonal profile to build massive fucking amounts of muscle. At least not very easy. We don't have enough testosterone. And especially genetics play a role in how quickly you're able to build that muscle, right? What did you pass down? What was passed down to you? What did your parents do? What did their parents do? What did their parents do? I know for a fact that my great-grandparents were not moving their bodies. I know for a fact that my grandparents were not moving their bodies. I know for a fact that my parents do not really. My dad a little bit rides a bike. It's awesome. But he does not strength train. At least he still does move his body, though. My mom definitely does not. She's having problems. She's had 2 hip replacements. She's having issues with one of them. Guess why? Inflammation. Guess why? She doesn't move her body enough. But Sarah, that's your mom. You got to help her. Girl, you can lead a horse to water. You can lead a horse to motherfucking water. Okay? So we don't have the hormonal profile. We don't have enough testosterone. You have to have some genetic predisposition as well in order to do it quickly and effectively and easily. If you don't have that genetic profile, you're going to have to fucking work for it really hard. Plus, getting bulky requires things that most women don't want to do, like eating enough calories. It's like, I want to grow a butt. I hope you're eating food. I want to have a, really strong, deadlift. Hope you're eating calories. Okay. Most women are not. Most women are not training with high enough volume intensity. Most women have not been doing this for 10 plus years. And most women, in order to get that, are taking performance enhancement drugs. That's a reality. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's something, like, it's not my thing, but it could be somebody else's thing. And that's fine. Right? You're not going to wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I got bulky overnight. This is not real. Right? Lifting heavy 3 to 4 times a week for 45 to 60 minutes is going to get you stronger, leaner, more defined, better bone density, higher metabolism. You're going to have more function. You're going to live longer, and you're not going to be bulky. Okay. That's not bulky. That's just being healthy. And, here's the deal. If you feel like, I'm getting too bulky, you just tone it down a little bit. Okay. You just pay attention to what you're doing. You can pull back. Okay. But you can never get back the density that you lose. So it's a lot harder to rebuild after you've lost. Okay. So you just want to stop. You just want to start, and you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop. Even through my hardship of the last 3 years of my weight itself, I've not stopped training. I have not stopped training. Why do you think that is? Do I like how I look right now? No. Am I comfortable in my skin? No. But damn it, my body, I'm good. I feel good. My body feels good, minus the little bit of weight that I got that I'm trying to get out, right? But outside of that, I'm still training with intensity so that I can feel strong and I can live a long, healthy life. And I want to be a role model for my kids. Okay. So we want to make sure that we understand what strength training is, since I kind of said it's not cardio, it's not classes, it's not these. It means that we are challenging our muscles with resistance. It could be heavy weights from anywhere between 5 to 8, moderate from 8 to 15, and then light up to 15 to 20. We are now seeing at this point in the data and the research that you can build muscle at all of these rep ranges. Okay. We want to progressively overload. This means you want to add slowly to slowly get stronger over time, either by adding weights, adding reps, adding sets. Maybe you slow down the tempo. Maybe you improve the form under the same load. So you keep using a 50, but now our form is getting weekly better and better and better and better. If you're doing the same exact thing for months with no progression, you're not changing and not challenging your body. Okay. A lot of the training that I build that you would have access to in Diet Dropout Club, and also that you have access to in Fat Loss Basics group coaching, are squats, variations, deadlift, variations, presses, variations, rows, variations, pull-ups, and lunge variations. Literally. It's a push, pull, leg, lower body movement variation. These are the movements that work multiple muscle groups that create the most adaptation over time, doing it over and over and over and over again. That is the goal. So the problem isn't that people are doing high reps or this. You see all this mumble jumble on the fucking internet. It's that you're not training with enough effort and you're not progressing over time, period. Okay. And I want to touch on this real briefly. I know that typically I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter here, but I really want to talk about cycle syncing. And this has become super popular. People are making a lot of money off of cycle syncing your workouts. And it's the idea that you should train differently based on where you are in your menstrual cycle. So maybe you can lift a little bit heavier in your follicular phase, go a little bit lighter in your luteal phase, and then you rest when you're actually on your period. Okay. Research is showing us that there's no evidence that you need to change your strength training based on your cycle. Now, your hormones do fluctuate throughout your cycle, and you actually might feel higher or lower energy during different times of these cycle phases. Okay. So you might have more energy in your follicular phase. You might feel more fatigued in your luteal phase, and you might feel like absolute dog shit in your period. But that doesn't mean that you have to change how you're training, that you can't train hard. And it doesn't mean that you have to completely fucking rebuild your life every fucking month. Can you imagine every month for 4 to 7 days that you're not training for an entire year? So let's go on the low end. Let's go on the low end of 4 days. And most women don't have a 4-day cycle, but we're going to go with it. That's 48 days, almost 50 days out of the entire year. On a high end, let's say 7 days, that is 84 days. So that's almost 3 months out of the year total that you're not training if you don't train when you're on your period. And I'm going to be super honest. While sometimes I feel more tired on my period, and I will take a nap occasionally on my period, I typically have PRs. Guess what else is happening on your period? More blood flow. Guess what? Literally throughout your entire body. Guess what else is happening on your period when you're on your period? You can get away with eating a little bit more because your body is burning 200 to 400 calories more a day while you're on your just to release your uteral lining. Boom. Right? So when people are like, oh, cycle thinking, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you can't train hard. So strength just doesn't go away. It doesn't just disappear because you're on your period. Your muscles don't suddenly stop responding the way that you want them to, or the way that resistance training has them, just because you're in a luteal phase. Okay. You can build strength and muscle in all of the phases. But again, what you want to understand is your intensity might shift a little bit. Maybe your training volume shifts a little bit. Maybe your exercise selection shifts. Sometimes I don't like to squat when I'm on my period. So maybe I will do different I'll rearrange or adjust my workouts to do an upper body workout, like the heaviest day of my cycle, because I don't like to squat when I'm on my period. I think it's gross. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel great. So I don't do it. But we don't have to stop training. We don't have to switch to yoga. We don't have to stop walking. And if you feel good, just because Sandy online says that you shouldn't do that doesn't mean you can't. You can listen to your own body and have your own autonomy, and not use your cycle as a fucking excuse to not do what you need to do. Okay. Alrighty, where am I at here? Alrighty. So let's chat real fast here about training through different life phases, because I think that how we train probably in our 20s is probably not how we have to train in our 40s, but I also don't think it has to be so crazy. In fact, I feel like sometimes we need to pull back a little bit more when our hormones are changing. It becomes even more critical to be strength training, but also we want to make sure that we are supporting our body, and training without resting is super duper not good. So a lot of times maybe you could get away with, 4 to 6 days of training in your 20s and 30s. But as you go into those 40s and perimenopause phases, you want to pull back a little bit. You want to make sure that your body can rest a little bit. And so maybe you pull back to 3 to 4 days versus, 5 to 6 days or something along those lines. But I don't think that we need to necessarily change everything just because we get older. Okay. So if you're sitting here going like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with strength training. I know I need to do, but I just need help building this routine. There is a spot in the Diet Dropout Club where we have workouts. So like in March, there is a gym workout and a dumbbell workout where you could do at home, and you can just go in there and you can see what you need to do, and then you can repeat those things. Okay. This is super duper important. We are working on building movement routines, establishing a strength training routine, working through progressive overload. And then you can also ask questions, do form checks. Is this right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're brand new to training, it's super duper important. Okay. So we are going to be doing a new challenge in there in April. It's probably going to start maybe, that's March. Here we go. Okay. Probably around April 13th or so. And then I will do another masterclass in there coming up. I don't know what that topic's going to be. If anybody wants to suggest a topic for their masterclass, we could do that. So that's going to be happening. So, you'll have access to all of that, plus the old masterclasses that we had. So, remember, training is not just for aesthetics. It's for health. It is for your bones, your metabolism, your hormones, for longevity, right? You want to lift heavy. You want to challenge yourself. You want to build strength, because you know that this is how you're going to not just look good and feel good, but you're going to protect the future you that you are becoming. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'm very excited. If you're listening to this on Friday, you know that I'm sitting in a pool again for the last time this year. I will be watching my son swim at States Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend. I'm very excited. This is a new experience for our family to be at a state event and attend. I'm so excited. We also had his banquet, and he's so close to the state cut for the 100 back in high school. And even his coach was like, we did counties next to states next year. And so I'm really excited that we are headed in this direction with him. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Whatever you're doing, get in some training this weekend, move your body. Cannot wait to see you guys on the next episode.